Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Against the Ropes podcast. I'm Gio Garcia. I'm alongside Christian Mosqueda, back for another episode, back for another live. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris, you ready there?
I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. Heavyweight episodes, man. 212. And of course, we have to welcome the unified, heavyweight champion of the world. And we'll get into it, Gio. I got to ask you, man, what are your thoughts on AtR Beterbiev's performance this past weekend?
Yeah, first of all, let's give a shout out to the people tuning in live. Shout out to Clyde. Shout out to Jesus checking in live once again. 2023, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. And of course, we're going to start off hot, man. We're going to start off hot. AtR Beterbiev stops Anthony Yarde. Took him 8 rounds. Another spectacular performance, I would say. Both men put on a great performance. Early candidate for Fight of the Year. We haven't had much action, but I think this was a very good fight. And, exciting fight. What can you say? We'll dive into it, but that's what I can say just off the top. If I had to keep it nice and short, great fight. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and again, it's one of those fights that a lot of the casuals are not going to tune in. This was for the diehard boxing fans, and like you mentioned, Joe, it was a fight that we kind of knew that Beterbiev was probably going to keep his knockout ratio, but we wanted to see what Yarde had. And I got to ask you, Joe, was this a better Yarde that fought Beterbiev than he did Kovalev?
I would say so, only because, obviously, I think he did fairly well against Kovalev. He was able to hurt him, but then he got stopped not too long after that. But I think I'm going to say Beterbiev is a tougher opponent, and he went 8 rounds. I think he went a large part of the whole fight without getting too hurt. We saw what Beterbiev did to Joe Smith Jr. the last time out. Hurt him many times, dropped him 4 or 5 times. It seemed like every shot that he was landing, he was hurting Joe Smith Jr. I think Yarde showed a great chin, good power. He was able to push Beterbiev back at times. I think it was a great display by Yarde. Nothing to be ashamed of. I think he's just fighting one of the best fighters in the world.
Yeah. I was fairly impressed with Yarde. I think before he doesn't go past 5-6 rounds, but very well conditioned for this fight. Of course, Beterbiev is the destroyer, not just in that division, but just known in boxing. And again, it's Yarde. You got to commend him for taking this fight. Most guys that take a loss, they don't get into a tough fight, right? As quickly or against a name like Beterbiev. So, got to commend Yarde for taking this fight. Giving a good account of himself, and I want to say it's going to make him better. It's going to make him better, and I know it's going to motivate him to keep moving forward.
Anthony Yarde, 31 years old, still fairly young, you can say. Hasn't fought too many fights. 23 wins, 22 by knockout. So obviously, Beterbiev was respecting his power. 22 of his 23 wins coming by knockout. So, he has pop. We saw what he did to Kovalev, right? It would have hurt him. But look, third loss, and this was huge. This was in front of his hometown crowd. He lost to Kovalev in 2019. Like we stated, he had him hurt, then ended up getting stopped not too long after that, and then also has a loss against Lyndon Arthur 2020. So he takes another loss, but look, AtR Beterbiev has stopped every single one of his opponents. I think Yarde did a good job. He had his moments in this fight. He had the hometown crowd excited a couple of times. He was able to touch up Beterbiev. I think he was able to stun him a couple of times. Very good chin by Beterbiev, obviously, but look, I think the KO loss was almost inevitable, you can say, in any Beterbiev fight, for his opponent. It's almost inevitable, man. 100% KO ratio. That's nothing to play with right there.
Yeah. I gotta ask you, Joe, and you know that this question is coming. Based on this and based on what's going on in the boxing sphere, do you think Beterbiev and Bebo, do you think it goes down this year?
Oh yeah, it has to. It has to happen. And why I say that is because these two men, you know, they are not, Canelo, or they're not Anthony Joshua, right? They're not Tyson Fury. They're not the guys who are constantly going to be promoted, big money being invested into these guys. It seems like they, if they want to fight each other, they will. I don't think anyone's going to get in the way. I don't think a big promotional company is going to get in the way. I think these are serious men. Obviously, Beterbiev toward the end of his career, you can say 38 years old. It has to happen. It has to. Capital H, capital A, capital S. It has to happen.
Yeah. Again, it's a great fight. I also agree this is going to go down as candidate for fight of the year. I don't know if it ends up at, by the end of the year as number one, but definitely one to rewatch. What did you think of Beterbiev after the fight? You saw his face touched up. Is he more vulnerable based on this performance for Bebo?
Like I said, 23 KOs and 23 wins for Yarde. Beterbiev is not known for his defense. He's been dropped before. I don't think anything changed. But if that helps make that fight, I'll just say yes. I don't think Bebo was thinking about it that way. But obviously, anytime a fighter is aging, that's something to lick your chops at. 38 years old, Beterbiev, and you wonder how much longer he can keep up this high level of boxing because, look, 100% KO ratio. He gets touched, but at the end of the day, he knocks you out. So I think, like I said, this fight has to happen, and it has to happen now because of that age factor. 38 years old, Beterbiev.
Yeah. And I know that years past, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago, we, favored one guy slightly more than the other. I'm not sure what you had it the last time we talked about it, but has it changed? So I'm going to ask you, who do you favor now based on this performance? Is it 55-45, 50-50? Where do you have it now?
I'm still at 50-50, and if I had to favor anyone, it's Beterbiev. But, I think if Bebo wants to win this fight, I think the game plan has to be great. And I think the difference is Beterbiev doesn't need a great game plan, honestly, with his chin and with his power. A lot of times that will bail you out, but I'm saying 50-50. If I had to choose someone, I think it'll still be slightly Beterbiev. But look, I think the narrative has changed, right? I think after the Canelo win, a lot of people are starting to favor Bebo after some performances by Beterbiev, you can say. Some people are saying, oh, he's slowing down. Oh, he's not as great as they say he is. And they're favoring Bebo a little bit. But I still think it's close to a 50-50 fight. But you still got to put some respect on the man who has 3 belts. It's 3 belts, right?
3 belts, yep. Bebo has the other. Yep. Yeah, as for me, man, it's very close. I'm tilting one way but tilting the other. It's 50-50, 51-49. You could see both guys, what makes them champions. Obviously, Beterbiev is a destroyer. He'll take shots, but he'll break you down, and he's done it to every single one of his opponents. Bebo, on the other hand, is more of a pure boxer. He's one of the most disciplined fighters in the game right now, alongside Usyk. And man, he sticks to the game plan. We saw it with Canelo. He was not taking any chances with the smaller guy. He just fought his fight, boxed him. Of course, we know Beterbiev can break down the boxer style type. He did it against Gvozdyk in a fight that many people felt, Gvozdyk would outbox him. So again, like you said, he is getting older. He's 38. This is making for a very intriguing fight. I have to ask, at what age, if this fight doesn't go through, at what age would you not give Bebo credit? If Beterbiev turns 39, 40, at what age do you say, you know what? I can't give you the full credit, Bebo?
39. 39 next year.
39.
Or I'm not sure when he turns 39, but I think the moment is now.
Yeah.
I think Beterbiev has done what he has to. He's done his part. Look, I'm going to list his last 5 opponents. Not a bad list. Alexander Gvozdyk, that was a 50-50 fight. He stopped him.
Yeah.
Adam Deans, Marcus Brown, Joe Smith Jr., and now Anthony Yarde. This guy's been going around collecting belts, stopping everyone. So I think now the ball has to be in Bivol's court. I don't think Beterbiev will care what the percentages are in terms of money and all that. I think, like I said, these are 2 serious men who are great fighters, and I don't think it should be too difficult to make. Beterbiev and Gvozdyk already happened. Those guys were the 2 best lightweights at the time. So this fight with Bivol should happen. And that's why I favor Beterbiev. Obviously, he has the power advantage, but he also has faced better opponents. He's more experienced. So he has a lot going in his favor.
Yeah. We mentioned he's 38, and of course, in boxing terms, that is an advanced age, but I kind of want to say that he's a, pretty fresh 38.
19 fights.
Yeah. We think about Golovkin. Golovkin's 40, and obviously we saw his last fight with Canelo. We can tell he's past his prime. Beterbiev, he does have 19 fights, which is not a whole lot of fights in the professional status, but he's still, in a sense, pretty fresh for a 38-year-old. So, I would love for them to fight, either this year or, like you mentioned, I agree, by next year, because I want to get, those Triple G, Canelo 1-2 type of fights. I don't want to see them, when Canelo and Triple G were in their 3rd fight. That's just, of course, it's just a money grab. I want to see a trilogy, and I feel like that Bivol and Beterbiev can give the fans, a trilogy type of fight, and we don't get those often in the light heavyweight division.
Big Bro says Yarde did better than anyone thought he would, but Beterbiev too much. Beterbiev versus Bivol needs to be next.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Beterbiev, right? Like it's almost as if who's going to take him the distance? There was a moment where I thought Yarde was impressing me. I'm like, it looks like, obviously you feel like the breaking down is coming, but you're like, you never know. What if this is the first guy that takes him the distance? And of course that didn't happen, but man, can Bivol not just win, but I mean, do you see Bivol being the first one to take him the distance, Gio?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, he's done it against big punchers before. So I think the biggest thing you just got to avoid, Beterbiev landing any clean shots. Bivol, very good defensive fighter, smart. Very intriguing fight, man. Styles make fights. You got a boxer against a power puncher who's a fairly good, I would say a fairly good boxer himself, man. One of the top pound-for-pound fighters in the world, man. Very rare, I think, right now with this era that we're living in, because you can have a lot of the top fighters, pound for pound, face each other. Fury, Usyk. Obviously, this one, right? Canelo against Bivol as well. The other one that I'm not gonna mention anymore. There's a lot of fights between these top pound for pound fighters that could happen. And I think, just in my opinion, I think this is the easiest one to make.
Yeah. And of course, talking about the pound for pound list, I know we both have, we both in there. Beterbiev, you might have him in the top 10, maybe 9, 10. I'm not sure. I have him around those spots. But how far up does Beterbiev move in your pound for pound list if he beats a Bivol?
Well, depending on what the others do, if Fury fights Usyk, but I think he's got to be number 1. I think he's got to be number 1.
Straight to number 1?
No, straight to number 1. I think he has a good argument for top 5 right now. I mean, you can't name any other champion who has a 100% KO ratio, and like I just mentioned, his last 5 opponents. It's not like he's fighting chumps. He's fighting all the top dogs, and for him, there's nowhere else to go. The next best guy is Bivol. Bivol is number 2. Beterbiev is number 1. in the lightweight division. So there's nowhere else to go for Beterbiev. Whoever they put in front of him, he's gonna knock him out. So Bivol is the only, I would say, the only real competition for him right now. And if you're Bivol, I mean, other than Canelo, there's nowhere else to go. It's not like the lightweight division is one of the hottest right now. Let's be honest. Who else is out there? Maybe Callum Smith, the only guy I could think about. Other than that, you know, I'm not sure if Canelo's staying at 75, but other than that, I don't think there's anywhere else to go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for me, I have Bivol rated higher in the pound for pound rankings, but if Bivol does beat Beterbiev, I would put him in number one. I think, not just beating Canelo, but if he were to beat Beterbiev, whether by decision or whatever, like he would be the first to, first of all, not get knocked out. He'd be the first to take Beterbiev the distance. He's the first to defeat him soundly. I would put him in number one. As for Beterbiev, I feel like he would still need to prove a little bit more. I would probably put him obviously top three, but
I should just stop you right now because you're talking nonsense.
Hey, there's rumors that he could fight Usyk, in that heavyweight division. I can.
They fought in the amateurs. They fought in the amateurs.
Yeah, but
now you're talking nonsense because look, if Beterbiev beats Bivol, that means he beat the best lightweights other than him for the second time. He did it with Wozniak, and if he does it to Bivol, that means he did it twice. Who else has done that?
True.
Nobody else. And look, Bivol has never even beat a top lightweight in his career as of now.
So you're saying,
Chris, stop saying nonsense, man. You better stop. It's too early for that. It's too early in the year. It's the first round.
Oh, so you would have to favor, if you had to favor somebody, you would favor Beterbiev. I think there's a bet there brewing down the road.
I'm just saying, look, who's the number one lightweight right now?
Light heavy?
Light heavyweight. Sorry.
You got to go with Beterbiev. Yeah, of course, he got three out of the four titles.
So you can't say he's the best light heavyweight and not rate him higher than Bivol in pound for pound. That makes zero sense.
We all have different ways of rating. I mean, they're both up there.
You tell me who's a better opponent, Wozniak or Zurdo? That's a given, right?
Sure. Yeah, go Wozniak for sure.
Just saying, I'm not sure. Canelo's not even a light heavy, so
right here live. All right, where do you have? So you have Beterbiev top 5?
I don't know. I think the top guys finished the year well. As far as like accomplishment stuff, it undisputed. Obviously, Fury is Fury, still undefeated. Yeah. I think Usyk kind of slipped down a little bit to me. Faced Joshua twice, yes, but
it's like a common opponent thing. Yeah.
Not necessarily that. I just don't think he dominated. Obviously, Canelo still got to be up there. And then I don't see anyone else.
Yeah.
So probably Beterbiev.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Beterbiev Bivol. I would say Beterbiev first and then Bivol after.
Yeah. Yeah, like we mentioned in a previous end of the year podcast, that's on the wish list, right? This is that one of the top 3 wish list fights that we hope happens this year. I heard there's mandatories out there for either guy. Man, if I'm their promoters, just throw them some step aside money. Throw them some step aside money. Let's make this fight happen. This is the fight that all the true boxing heads want to watch. An all Russian affair. Beterbiev, undefeated, knocked out all of his opponents. Bivol, one of the most exceptional, in my opinion, disciplined boxers out there. Man, we got to see it this year, man. I hope it happens by the end of this year, Gio.
Yeah, all Russian affair, but guess what? They're probably going to take that fight to Saudi Arabia, and it's going to be Montreal against Indio. Montreal, Canada against Indio, California. That's what it's gonna be. But hey,
Yeah,
it's still a big money fight in my opinion.
yeah, no, when I saw the Canadian flag, I was like, okay, shit. Beterbiev was really trying to, he's really repping that, that Canadian, you know, passport. But yeah, that's right. They're still banning all Russian flags, all, the anthem, all that. It's what it is, man. Do you still? What are your thoughts on that, Gio? I don't know if you want to get into it. We'll quick second. Do you think that they should play the flag or the anthems, or do you think it's okay to ban it for now with what's going on?
Yeah, I haven't given much thought. I think there's argument for both, but I haven't given much thought honestly.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject, but yeah, man. I think that's all I got for that. Hope it happens this year, man.
I'm a little disappointed. You don't seem too convinced by Beterbiev for whatever the reason is.
No, I am. It's just I feel like I saw some chinks in the armor this time. I mean, of course, he still did what he had to do.
We see it every fight, Chris. We see it every fight.
Yeah,
he's been dropped before. He gets hit every fight. Yeah. Guess what? He still knocks you out.
He still finds a way, man.
He went to London. Didn't phase him.
Like if they fight right now, I'm like you. I would still kind of favor Beterbiev, but I just feel like, as much as I want it to happen now, like I think boxing has made us all very skeptical. It's made us so doubtful that these fights will happen. I mean, I want to be always proven wrong when I have that mindset. But I just feel like by the time they meet, I feel like the edge will go to Vivo. But like I said, I want to be wrong. I want this fight to happen this year. I'm praying, man. I'm hoping and praying that this happens this year, man. And it's, again, like I said, I want to have some quality fights before they say Beterbiev, aged.
Yeah, 100%. That fight's got to happen, man. It's got to happen. But let's go ahead and move on. We did have some action as well this past Saturday. Actually, here in LA, friend of the show, past guest, Alexis Rocha. I'm sure you guys saw the KO. I'm sure everyone saw the KO, Chris.
Vicious, man. Vicious. Man. I don't know, man. With Alexis Rocha, I know he doesn't get the the star power. He does, obviously he's promoted by Oscar de la Hoya, but he's not, touted as much in the rankings. Hey, I say use that as a motivation. Use that as, hey, you're discounting me, I can shock. We see. I know a lot of people don't give past guests of the show, Blair, too much props, but hey, Alexis showed what he can do, against a very athletic guy. I would say don't sleep on him. Like, he's not the most highly ranked guy, but he can surprise, if given the chance and seizes the moment. So yeah, man, again, another knockout for him, and he's just waiting. He's just waiting for that opportunity.
Yeah, and he's gonna get a big fight. He's gonna get a big fight for that reason that you mentioned. Some people don't rate him as high. Some people are I'm sure going to try to use him as a stepping stone, and he's going to get a big fight, whether it's a Golden Boy fighter or if it's a guy like Terrence Crawford, who's now, it seems like he's been meeting with Golden Boy, with Oscar de la Hoya and B-Hop Alien. He's going to get a big fight, Rocha, man. And look, he's earned it. He's earned it. Cobbs was supposed to be that dude, and Rocha stopped him. Now another big KO headlining this event. So, yeah, he's going to get a big fight. It'll be interesting to see who it is and if he's ready. He said he is. He called out Terrence Crawford there at the end. But, yeah, I mean, look, the fight itself, the knockout, tremendous. He dominated. This is going to be a candidate for KO of the year. We're talking about Beterbiev, Yarde, early candidate for fight of the year. I think we got one here for KO of the year. Hopefully it doesn't get forgotten at the end of the year, but tremendous KO there, out cold his opponent, and things are going to start getting interesting here. There's going to be some movement. Obviously, Crawford, obviously Spence, the fight that we're still not getting, and that I'm gonna boycott and refuse to talk about on this show. But both of those guys, it seems like they're making moves, and they're looking for their next opponent. So things are gonna get very, very interesting here.
Yeah, I think Alexis Roach. I know some of these other guys like man, I'm spacing out, but some of these past welterweight champions, that were once title holders, that they're no longer, title holders. I feel like that would be good matchmaking for him, and that's a good before he faces the Crawfords and the Errol Spences. I think those are fights that Golden Boy should push for. Whether they have success in getting those, that's another thing. But I think that's smart matchmaking. That's a good way to see where he's at. These guys, some of them are past their prime. Alexis is still in his prime. Young, hungry fighter. I think that would be very interesting, and it would, kind of give him some more credibility, more experience before he fights these elite guys, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much on this other than tremendous KO, and keep it there in your memories, because I'm sure at the end of the year 2023 in December, I'm sure we'll be talking about this KO.
Yeah. All right, Gio, do you want to move on to your boy Jake?
Jake from State Farm. I don't have too much on this. I haven't been paying attention. The last thing I saw, obviously they're announcing now Jake Paul against Tommy Fury. We got an email from Top Rank. I don't know if Top Rank is going to be the promotional company who's going to be promoting this and showing the fight. Let me check real quick on that. That's how I found out about it. Saw the email. There was zero excitement for me. I think this fight has been happening for the past year or two. But the only thing that did stand out to me was the fact that Tyson Fury was actually giving Jake Paul some props now and saying he's a decent fighter and saying that it's going to be a good fight. But other than that, I don't have too much on this.
Yeah, we won't spend a whole lot of time, but Jake Paul was at the Beterbiev fight. Of course, it happened in that side of the pond. Again, finding a way to market himself, market the fight. This is a YouTube fighter that has taken boxing seriously, and of course, in the beginning, I think we both were like, "Who is this guy? What is he doing?" Slowly but surely, we've seen his, I want to say respect to the sport. He's kept at it. Worked hard, hired the right people, in my opinion, and stayed, relevant, getting good wins against obviously not the most credible opponents, but he's progressing. And of course, people say, that's what boxers do. They take, not so difficult opponents in the beginning, and why judge Jake Paul in that stance? But man, this is a fight that will kind of show if Tommy Fury takes the sport seriously. At this point, I would favor the professional boxer. They're both professionals, but the one that's done it since he was, a kid. So, but yeah, I want to see where they're at. I want to see who takes the sport seriously. Of course, they're bringing in Tyson Fury to make it a little bit more, exciting, more relevant. Hey, even Tyson Fury says, hey, if Baby Bro loses this fight, he's going to have to go work for Ronaldo. So there's a little bit of pressure there. Like, hey, man, you're a boxer. You got to perform, man. So I'm excited at least to see how this unravels. This fight does happen next month. And why not, man? We did say he does entertain, which is something boxers can learn from Jake Paul. So, hey, I'll be tuned in a little bit there, here and there.
That's that. I don't know if you want to dedicate more time to that than this.
That's it. That's it, man. That's it.
All right.
Go for Joe.
Now, I was going to say, before we get out of here, we got to send some shout-outs. There was some more action this past Saturday. So, Saul Neno Rodriguez returned. It was an exhibition match after all, Chris. But he get the W. And Jesus, at the top of the show at the beginning, he was saying Neno got to fight again February. he's got to fight again. He wants to see him active. So, yeah, good comeback fight. There was a lot of people there, a lot of excitement, and a lot of good fights on the undercard as well. Of course, El Maestro Murataya, older brother of Raymond Murataya, um, got a stoppage win, and then Leo Ruiz got a stoppage win as well. Part of that RGBA stable. A lot of excitement, and they've been doing a combo of amateur and pro boxing on these shows. So hopefully we see our boy Jess Rodriguez, Lil Jess, in action in one of these shows soon. That would be pretty cool to see.
Yeah, again, this is Garcia Promotions, putting all these events together. And again, it's we've seen it. We've worked those shows. It's no easy task, man. You got to sell tickets. You got to push these fighters that are not widely recognized. They're building their resumes. And so again, shout out to Marquis Garcia for putting back into his business, putting back into these fighters that he's seen them grow. He sees them when they're kids lacing up, and then they're trying to make a name for themselves. So, yeah, it's unfortunate that it was an exhibition match. We know that Neno wants to really get back, and he told us, I have 5-6 years left. This is my chance to try to secure my family's financial well-being, and so we know that he wants to fight as much as possible. Jesus, we're letting you know right now, Neno's trying to fight as much as possible. So I know that he kind of let us know, if you guys want to go back and check out that podcast, that he wants to fight. How many times did he say, Gio? At least 3-4 times, I believe, this year.
Yeah, I think he said 3 or 5 fights by mid-year, by June, July. So he's trying to stay active. It's always difficult, though, to find opponents, especially against a guy like Neno, a guy who can punch, a guy who's going to be ready. So, I think that's going to be the challenge. But, I think bright future for Garcia Promotions.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, a lot of kids, amateurs coming through the ranks. They're learning a lot from the pros. We know that a lot of these pros take them under their wings. The kids that get motivated seeing them, make their debuts. They see them coming out to the bright lights, and so yeah, man. Again, we're gonna be keeping an eye on Garcia Promotions. If they invite us, we'll get some backstage footage, and we're gonna take this all the way.
Yeah, and then another fight announcement. Of course, we kind of saw this coming. They kind of, I'm gonna take some credit. They kind of announced it on our podcast. I don't know if you guys saw that. It was toward the end of the podcast, but Coach G, Right Hook Roxy, are now taking it to the pros. Right Hook Roxy, pro debut on the AB. Adrian Broner undercard. That's in February. So big news. We'll see what the turnout is like. We'll see how many people go out and support women's boxing, because she's definitely a star.
Yeah, no, she has a huge following on social media. I know a lot of people are going to be tuning in, and it's going to be a great debut, in my opinion. I think that fire is back. I know we know got some insight behind the scenes of what's going on with the Hook Roxy, but it seems like that fire is back. She wants to, make this great debut. Of course, everybody wants to get their knockouts. When you ask a fighter, what do they want? They want obviously that knockout, and we'll see, man. We'll see how she does, and we know that she's gonna put on a show for all her fans.
Another fight announcement, and we'll be talking about this next week. David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant. They're saying it's going to be in March at the MGM Grand in Vegas. So we can talk about that next week. Talk about who should be favorite, who should not be favorite. And I mean, there's a lot of factors in this fight, man. There's a lot of things that have changed. I think my perspective on this fight, and my opinion on this fight, has changed because of recent opponents. If you would have asked me a year and a half ago, I would have said David Benavidez washes Caleb Plant. I think things have changed a little bit now. Caleb Plant, getting that experience of fighting Canelo, earning that tremendous KO win for a lot of people, KO of the year last year. Big confidence booster, in my opinion. And then on the other end, David Benavidez, just not fighting any significant opponents still. Last couple years have been disappointing in my opinion. I thought he was my disappointment of 2022. He only fought David Lemieux, a guy who's not a 168-pounder, and a guy who hasn't been active, and a guy who's ready to retire. So, yeah, I think my opinion has changed a little bit on this fight, but we can get into it in the next couple of weeks or so.
Hey, I just gotta say, he heard you, bro. He heard you when you called him the flop of 2022. He's like, heck, I gotta sign up for this fight, man.
I just hope I don't run into him. 'Cause I don't be like, that wasn't me, David. That was some other dude who looks just like me. That was not me.
Yeah, you said some things, man. I hope he doesn't watch a lot of the old episodes. Well, we good. I mean, hey,
we like David. You met him. You've been punched by him. He's a cool dude. He seems like a really cool dude. I like him. It's just, just because you're cool outside the ring doesn't mean that we have to be content with what you're doing in the ring. Because look, David Lemieux should not be an opponent for a guy like David Benavidez. David Benavidez should be fighting the top dogs. I know a lot of people were saying the same thing they're saying for Crawford. Oh, well, no one wants to fight him. Well, you got to figure out a way, man. You got to go up and wait, call some other people out. I'm sure there's guys at 175 who will take that fade. There's still Callum Smith. You guys didn't fight at 68. You guys could fight at 75. There's a lot of good names out there, 68 or 75. So I think he wants to fight these guys. Not sure how much taking fights against the guys like Lemieux and stuff is helping. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. I'm almost 100% sure that he does want the big fights, and he's not getting them. But it's just frustrating as a boxing fan at times. I don't want to see Benavidez against Lemieux. I don't want to see that.
I want to say that you're tough on him because you expect a lot from him. I think that you do believe that he's a very talented guy, fast hands, great power.
Man, don't put words in my mouth. Come on.
But to come to David's defense, I do think a lot of guys don't want to fight him. But that's where your management team comes in, and you got to sweeten the deal. You got to sweeten that purse. You got to, sometimes you got to pay out of your purse to make those fights happen. So, I mean, I think you're right. You got to find a way to get those fights. So this is a boxing game.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll be talking more about that fight that's coming up, and I'll be this plant in March, Vegas. We'll be talking about it in the next couple weeks. And Chris, if you have any last announcements while I look up the boxing schedule to see what's popping. I believe Navarrete is fighting this Friday. Let me look it up, though. I don't want to give you guys false information.
Yeah, no. Just final announcements. I saw that Conor Ben is set to return to the WBC rankings. This comes after he, was caught with banned substances. I don't know how long this novella is going on, but yeah, that just came out today that he's set to return to the WBC rankings after, some thorough investigation, led to him being somewhat cleared. I don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but apparently he's getting back.
Interesting. Yeah, and shout out to Liam Beefy Smith, man. We didn't get a chance to talk about that, but he did stop Chris Eubank Jr. Upset. You got to call it what it is. It's an upset. Chris Eubank Jr., who was supposed to fight Conor Ben, who you just mentioned. Ben tested positive for banned substances. Fight fell through. Eubank ends up fighting Liam Smith and gets stopped. Got hit with a flush shot and just didn't recover. He didn't know where he was. Wobbly legs. He said he wanted to continue, but no chance. He would have got hurt. Shout out to Liam Smith, man. What a comeback. What a comeback.
Yeah, that goes there for early upset of the year already, Gio. And like you said, Liam Smith at 34 years of age, pretty much shocks the world, probably single-handedly in a way. Crushes a Conor Eubank Jr. Kind of hype for that fight. But yeah, man, your boy Liam Smith already has Chris Eubank Jr. and Jesse Vargas,
Yes.
under his resume.
Let's go. He became one of my favorite fighters after that win. Let me tell you. Shout out to Beefy, who missed the penalty the next day as well. Missed the penalty in Sunday League. We got it on tape and everything, man. It's all good.
You get a win in boxing, yeah, we'll forgive that miss,
Hey, man.
It's all right. We'll give you that pass. And I know you're giving him a pass because he's a Liverpool guy, but
yes,
that's
definitely.
all right.
No, if I fight you and you're playing Sunday League the next day, I'm going to be offended. That's crazy. You just went, I don't know. Well, it wasn't that many rounds, but still, it's a fight. And he took some big punches in that fight, man. If you're playing Sunday League the next day, I feel disrespected.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, bro, but I think you got a little sweet spot for Liam Smith. We do know you don't like Jesse, so he's got that guy. Got Chris Eubank Jr. I don't think you're too high on the Brits.
You're right.
He is a Liverpoolian, and he got in there with Canelo. So like, hey, this guy, not bad, man, not bad.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Shout out to Callum too. I know you're watching. Callum, great comeback as well. He's been knocking people out. All right, but here, let's take it to the boxing schedule, Chris, because there's some action. February 4th, Glendale, Arizona, ESPN Plus. Emmanuel Navarrete fighting Liam Wilson for the vacant WBO junior lightweight title. It's 130 pounds. But this is the one right here. Jose Pedraza against Arnold Barboza Jr., 10 rounds, 140 pounds. That's going to be a great fight. Arnold Barboza, man, keeps knocking on the door. Now he's going to fight an experienced fighter, a guy who can punch, veteran. I mean, it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good test for Barboza.
Yeah. Again, like you said, Arnold has been knocking, and this guy dreams about getting a title shot in. And Jose Pedraza has all the experience factor going for him. Doesn't always get the wins, but you cannot sleep on a guy like Jose Pedraza because that guy one of these guys shoot back and get a title shot in. You don't want to overlook a guy like Pedraza.
Yeah, and then let's go to some comments before I continue on this card. Big Bro says, Plant can outbox Benavidez by just moving around. He's more flat-footed than Canelo and doesn't have the experience he has to figure out Plant. Yeah, man, we're going to be debating this next week or the one after that. Like I said, my opinion has changed on this fight. I think Plant's a better fighter after getting knocked out by Canelo. But we'll see. We'll see, and we'll talk about it. Shout out to Sean, who's checking in. Big Bro says Beefy versus Munguia, a rematch watch. At this point, man, Munguia better watch out.
And he didn't say Munguia, but yeah, Munguia. We can't get flagged, man.
Oh, I thought he just had a typo. Oh, that's funny. All right, and then Jesus says Emiliano fights on the Navarrete card. Emiliano Vargas, who is signed to Top Rank. Let me go through that list because heavyweight Richard Torres Jr. is on that fight. He's on that undercard, sorry. He's fighting James Bryant, 6 rounds, heavyweight action. Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of the legend, fighting against Eduardo Ayala, 6 rounds, middleweight division. You're still not convinced? You're still not sold, Chris? Has your opinion changed at all?
I think it's changing slowly. It's slowly changing. Of course, I always had doubts about these, the legacy offspring, But I think Nico Ali, I think he's got a mentality that's been surprising me. Of course, we want to see him fight better competition, but he's moving up in my ladder of of ratings. I had him as a C- fighter. He's moving up a little bit. Not a B yet, but yeah, he's moving up.
Interesting. I was rooting for him this whole time. Now, honestly, I don't know how I feel about him, but I'm still rooting for him.
Okay.
Emiliano Vargas is fighting against Francisco Duque, 4 rounds in the lightweight division. How do you feel about Emiliano? Just curious.
Of course, very early on, but like people have mentioned it before, he's probably the best of those three. Yeah, I think he's the goods. He just has to stay focused. Of course, we've talked about this with those young guys. They just got to stay very, very focused, disciplined. Don't get distracted by those, those things out in the world. But yeah, good fighter, very good fighter.
The return of Ali Walsh, says Big Bro. I know Big Bro in the past couple podcasts wasn't a big fan of his. Not sure if that has changed or not, but he will be in action this Friday. Once again, that's Glendale, Arizona, ESPN Plus, Friday, February 3rd. The main event is Emmanuel Navarrete against Liam Wilson, vacant WBO junior lightweight title. Some action on Saturday as well. New York, The Zone. Amanda Serrano against Erica Cruz. They're fighting for a lot of those belts. Alicia Baumgartner fighting Elham Mekhaled, fighting for a bunch of belts as well. That's some good women's boxing action. New York, The Zone, February 4th. That's Saturday. February 11th, just moving through these real quickly. San Antonio, Texas, Showtime. Ray Vargas against Shaki Foster. 12 rounds for the vacant WBC junior lightweight title. So that's 130 pounds, right? He's moving up, Ray Vargas.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. Some action February 18th as well. Pomona, California. The Zone, Luis Neri against Asat Hovhannisyan. WBC Junior Featherweight Title Eliminator, it says. We'll see who they put on that undercard. But this one right here, this is the one. This is one of the ones I'm looking forward to. February 18, Nottingham. The Zone. Lee Wood, Mauricio Lara. Of course, Lee Wood had one of the candidates for Fights of the Year, one of the candidates for KO of the Year. We picked it as our KO of the Year when he stopped Mickey Conlon. He's fighting Mauricio Lara. Of course, Mauricio Lara, you guys remember him from taking Josh Warrington's belts. He's back. He's back in the UK, Mauricio Lara. So that's going to be exciting. That's going to be a good one. February 18th, The Zone.
Yeah, this one has Fight of the Year written all over it, Gio. Of course, we know Mauricio Lara does very well against British styles, but man, like we said, Lee Wood was in that Fight of the Year. We know that he does get knocked down, but he gets up and he has the grit and the will and the heart to find a way. So, dude, this one has Fight of the Year all over it.
All right. We also have. All right. I see February 24th. Rigondeaux's name is on there versus TBA. Rigondeaux, who had an accident, right? Almost lost his vision.
Yeah. What? Yeah, that's surprising. I mean.
Yeah, we'll see if he actually fights, man.
Yeah, if they cleared him, he must be good, but you never know. But Rigondeaux.
Yeah, this is Florida, February 24th. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. We'll be looking at all the updates and all that. El Chacal Rigondeaux. And then February 25th, Atlanta, Georgia, pay-per-view. I think that's BLK Prime, right? Pay-per-view. Adrian Broner, Michael Williams Jr., 10 rounds, welterweight division, 147 pounds. And then also on the undercard, Tevin Farmer versus Mickey Bay. Anthony Peterson versus TBA. And then they have Iana Verduzco, a.k.a. Right Hook Roxy, against Jessica Emmerich, women lightweights, it says 4 rounds. I see this. They must have just added this. This is Alan Garcia against TBA lightweights as well.
Double duty for Coach G.
Yeah. What do you think about AB coming back once again?
Huh? I mean, to me, AB is always going to be entertainment. That's one. The second, I don't know where AB's at. Just fitness wise anymore. But he's always entertaining. So he's fighting a young guy. Nothing special in my opinion, but it's a good match to see where AB's at, where his fire's at. I think it's gonna tell us where if he still has it or not. Again, the question is will he let his hands go? And it's like a broken record. We don't see it, but can he do it this time? So yeah, I'll tune in. I'm tuning in, of course. You got Hook Roxy and Alan Garcia. I'm gonna find a way to watch this.
Yeah, and look, I'm looking at the rest of the schedule. Hey, man, there's some really good fights on here. The one you mentioned, February 26th, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It is ESPN plus pay-per-view, the Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury, but I want to focus on the undercard. This one was a little surprising. Olunga Makabu against Badou Jack for Makabu's WBC Cruiserweight title. Of course, if you guys remember that name, if it sounds familiar, that was the gentleman that Canelo was rumored to supposedly be fighting, in the Cruiserweight division. So he's fighting against Badou Jack, obviously, an experienced fighter. And then also on here, of course, in collaboration with MVP Promotions. So it says Ashton Silva against Maxwell Awuku, 8 rounds, lightweights, Chris.
Interesting. Yeah, again, our
might have to pay for this after all.
Yeah, I'd be like, yo, Ashton, what's going on? I mean, it's good. It's good for him, going to Saudi Arabia under Jake Paul, big names, good exposure for him. But man, I love seeing our people's names up there. I call them our people because we were there with them since like fight number 1. So man, glad to see Ashton, Alan's, and Hook Roxy's their names up there, man.
Yeah,
and they're fighting in Riyadh, which is like we mentioned, that's the team that Ronaldo plays for now. So, hey man, the loser's gonna have to go do some extra rounds over there with that soccer team.
And then we're gonna move on to March real quick. Let's go through this real quick. We're keeping this one nice and short. But look, March cannot not mention these fights that were just announced. Mark Magsayo against Brandon Figueroa. That's a fight right there. March 12th, Australia, Tim Zhu against Tony Harrison. That's a fight right there. Big test for Tim Zhu. Jose Ramirez against Richard Comey, March 25th, Fresno, California. Iniesta Estrada on the undercard. Good fight.
Good fight.
And then, of course, March 25th, David Benavidez versus Caleb Plant, Showtime pay-per-view. That's March. April.
David Benavidez trying to get out of your S list. I think we'll talk about it like you said next podcast. But I disagree with you guys. But we'll save that for next time.
April 1st, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Robeisio Ramirez against Isaac Dukbo. That's a good fight.
A good scrap.
Xander Sayas on that. Joey Gonzalez on that. April 1st, London, Anthony Joshua against Jermaine Franklin.
Who is that? You know that guy, Gio?
I don't.
Oh, hey. After back-to-back losses, you got to get back into winning ways and get that mentality back on.
All right, we're trying to get through this quickly, Chris.
Let's go.
April 8th says Shakur is fighting. April 8th as well says Jesse Bam Rodriguez against Christian Gonzalez for the WBO vacant flyweight title. Seems like he's going down in weight. Joe Joyce says April 15, London against Zilei Zhang. That's a big Chinese heavyweight, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's a good fight right there. And then April 29th, it says Dallas, Texas, Virgil Ortiz Jr. against Imantas Stanionis. And a lot of these fights, I'm sure, will change around, and I'm sure a lot of the opponents will change for some of these guys. But that's what's on the schedule as of now on ESPN. So we'll see, man. It's shaping up to be a very good year. And, of course, I'm sure the big dogs will start announcing some fights soon. So a lot to look forward to in this 2023.
Yeah, for me, just it's great to look at that schedule and see it take shape. Lots of exciting fights, like you said, some of the more known fighters as well as some of the people that have come through our show. I'm excited, bro. And again, it's good to get back on the podcast, talk to you guys. And yeah, man, we're ready, man. We had a great show this past weekend, and man, it's looking good. It's looking good for the first quarter of the year.
Big Bro says, heard Ramirez dug Regis again. SMH. Jesus says, still not fighting Regis.
Ooh, I mean, I'm gonna have to agree with it. I mean, and I know there was some stuff of a wedding or something going on, and Regis did say like, "Hey, yo, I've missed big events, big holidays, birthdays. Like, I'm ready to fight." And I'm gonna say, man, Regis looked very impressive to me in his last outing. So, hey, man, like they say, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, gotta be duck.
Disrespectful. All right. But yeah, that's that, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for keeping that chat lit. If you're not subscribed, of course, subscribe to the channel, Against the Ropes Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Against DA-Ropes, Against the Ropes. Go ahead and check out that Neno podcast if you haven't already. We were live at the RGBA, the Robert Garcia Boxing Academy in Riverside. Thank you to them for the hospitality, for opening the doors. We were able to film that podcast there, and hopefully a lot more coming soon. So, yeah, man, thank you guys. Great seeing, familiar names here on the chat. I guess we didn't annoy you too much, right, in 2022, because you guys are back. So happy to see you guys on here once again, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, for me, bro, you said it all, man. Thank you guys for the continued support, and we hope to bring you more podcasts in this coming 2023.
Let's go, mates.
Vámonos.
Let's go, mates. Hope you enjoyed it. See you guys soon. Stay warm out there.
Beefy Smith. Beefy.
Shout out to Beefy Smith, Mike. Let's go, Liverpool. At least someone from Liverpool's winning, man. Because the team isn't. Let me tell you that much. Let's go, mates.
Michael, you already know I'm a fun guy.
Hola amigos, soy Juan Pastor Gallo Estrada. Quiero mandar un saludo para mis amigos de Contra las Cuerdas. Que se les muchas ganas. Un abrazo, muchas bendiciones.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. You know what mine is? Let's box, bitches. It's almost fight night.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you for the support. Keep doing your thing. You're doing a great job. So thank you and best wishes.
Against the Ropes. Huge shout out to Against the Ropes. Against the Ropes.
Shout out to Against the Ropes. Thank you guys for the interview, and hope to see you guys soon.
Against the Ropes, always doing the right thing.
Shout out to Against the Ropes, man. I appreciate you guys for having me, taking the time on y'all day.
Against the Ropes, #1.
Freddie Roach.
Thank you very much.